If your shipping company just purchased 5 brand new 18-wheelers to dominate the continent, but forgot to hire drivers who actually know how to navigate through a rainstorm, that fleet is worth precisely nothing. The first major storm transforms your luxury assets into expensive scrap metal scattered across the shoulder of the highway. That storm just made direct landfall at the Los Angeles Dodgers spring training camp in Arizona, and the damage report arriving from the field is exactly the kind of organizational nightmare that billion-dollar front offices insist cannot happen to them. Andrew Friedman assembled the most opulent, expensive, and star-studded rotation in the history of professional baseball on paper. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, names that individually command highlight packages and collectively generate the kind of media attention reserved for championship favorites. But any serious baseball analyst understands an immovable truth about how a 162-game season actually functions. Superstars cannot carry the entire workload alone. You need the working class. You need the dirty, unglamorous innings eater who shows up every fifth day, cleans up the mess when the gods are resting, and asks for nothing beyond the opportunity to compete. That role belonged to Gavin Stone, the man designated as Hollywood's mechanical workhorse. The tractor meant to plow through innings when the stars needed protection from calendar accumulation. Stone consumed 140 innings in 2024 before the operating table claimed the entirety of his 2025 season. The organizational promise was straightforward. By 2026, his surgically repaired shoulder will provide the depth shield this rotation desperately requires. That medical promise just dissolved under the Arizona sun. Dave Roberts stood at the microphones and delivered the nightmare directly. Stone threw in the bullpen. The pain in his repaired shoulder returned like a knife finding an old wound, and the front office had no choice but to press pause and lock him inside the medical department for an indeterminate timeline. The dream rotation declared bankruptcy before the regular season threw its first pitch. Today, we're dissecting the full anatomy of this surgical arrogance certificate. We'll examine why Stone's absence, combined with Blake Snell's unavailability, places a ticking time bomb directly in the hands of young and proven arms, how baseball's swift justice crushes front offices that attempt to hack human anatomy through financial engineering, and what it reveals about a billion-dollar organization trembling with genuine anxiety during the month of March. Before the fine print of this medical report hits your screen, I'm handing you the emergency management phone right now. You control this rotation's destiny. Do you hold steady, trust our prospect pipeline, and hand the baseball to inexperienced rookies like Justin Robleski and Emmett Sheehan to patch the rotation's crumbling infrastructure? Or does a franchise targeting 3 consecutive championships have an absolute obligation to open the vault immediately and sign a durable veteran before opening day arrives with no margin for error remaining? Think with the pragmatic clarity of a CEO who understands operational dependencies, because a fatigued arm in May becomes a shattered shoulder in October without exception. Let's examine the tactical roulette we're spinning inside this organization right now. The 6-pitcher rotation strategy in Los Angeles was never a luxury indulgence. It was a fundamental survival necessity built around the biological realities of the most valuable arms in baseball. Ohtani cannot pitch every 5 days without carefully managed rest intervals, protecting his elbow through the length of a championship run. Sasaki requires calendar protection that acknowledges a significant workload adjustment from MPB to a full major league season. Stone and Snell were designed as the master gears, keeping this entire mechanical wheel turning smoothly through the summer heat. Both of them are now occupying space in baseball's intensive care unit simultaneously. The arithmetic delivers its verdict without sentiment or negotiation. Every inning Stone doesn't throw gets redistributed across a bullpen that was already operating near capacity under normal circumstances. This is precisely how secondary arms transform into overused liabilities by midsummer, accumulating fatigue that doesn't announce itself until the tissue simply refuses further demands at the worst conceivable moment. The Dodgers plan for everything except the fundamental reality that a surgically repaired tendon, regardless of how sophisticated the medical team overseeing its rehabilitation, never fully replicates the structural integrity of original tissue operating under full competitive load. This is precisely where biology's swift justice descends on the billionaire ego with the specific weight it reserves for organizations that mistake financial resources for physiological immunity. The karma embedded in the Dodgers' construction philosophy is what I'm calling the God Doctor syndrome. The front office consistently targets pitchers with genuinely terrifying health histories because the raw talent is undeniable and the acquisition cost reflects the medical discount attached to the risk. They operate under the institutional belief that Los Angeles' physical therapy infrastructure, sports science capabilities, and unlimited financial resources can repair what nature and previous surgical interventions could not fully restore. Every offseason, this philosophy produces the same organizational bet. Talent outweighs history, and our system fixes what others cannot. The supreme punishment for playing with biological fire is the blaze consuming the warm-up tent before the main event begins. Corporate swift justice delivers its verdict through a specific and devastating mechanism. If you forge a sword from tempered glass, it becomes the kingdom's most lethal weapon on the first strike, then shatters directly into your face on the second impact without warning or negotiation. The Dodgers' karma is constructing an organizational dependency on genetic lottery outcomes, gambling the championship legacy of genuine legends like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, players who have managed their health with professional discipline throughout their careers, on the willingness of surgically repaired shoulders to cooperate through October. The vanity embedded in believing financial resources override biological limits generated this March crisis, and the bill arrived precisely when the organization had no available contingency. The downstream consequences extend beyond the immediate rotation mathematics into territory that should genuinely alarm anyone examining this organization's October viability. Robleski and Sheehan carry legitimate developmental profiles that suggest future major league contributors with appropriate time and workload management. What they don't carry is a competitive seasoning and psychological armor required to absorb the specific pressure of starting games for a championship favorite, with a media apparatus scrutinizing every pitch count and performance metric in real time. The learning curve that normal developmental timelines allow for is compressed into a crucible that consumes young arms when the organizational context surrounding them communicates existential urgency from the first spring training start. Roberts' challenge is managing this pressure environment without destroying the developmental confidence of pitchers who weren't scheduled to carry this weight for another season or two. Every manager in baseball history who has navigated rotation injury crises during championship windows understands a specific tightrope. Push young arms too hard and accelerate the injury cascade. Protect them too aggressively, and the major league roster deteriorates to a level that makes October survival impossible regardless of how healthy everyone arrives. The veteran market options remaining at this point in the calendar carry their own complicated reality. Quality starting pitching available during spring training exists in this condition for specific reasons. Injury history, performance decline, command issues, or contractual complications that prevented earlier resolution. The Dodgers pursuing available arms now means accepting whatever risk the market has already priced into those pitchers' availability, potentially adding medical uncertainty to a rotation already overwhelmed with it. The organizational irony is almost poetic in its precision. The franchise that spent more resources than any competitor in baseball history on pitching talent finds itself staring at a rotation crisis before a single regular season pitch has been thrown, not because the talent was insufficient, but because the medical gambles embedded in every major acquisition came due simultaneously. This isn't bad luck distributed randomly across a large roster. It's a predictable consequence of construction philosophy that systematically accepted injury risk in exchange for talent premium, and the bill arrived with compound interest. The physical therapy table is fully occupied, and this radioactive situation just dropped into your lap with full organizational weight attached, staring at the media pressure that will consume our young pitchers alive if this rotation collapses publicly. Do you press the green button, protect Stone through whatever timeline his shoulder demands, and bet the franchise's championship aspirations on the developmental readiness of arms that weren't supposed to carry this responsibility yet? Or do you acknowledge that the seasonal medical project failed before it started, enter emergency mode, and make the uncomfortable calls to a veteran market that will charge maximum desperation pricing for whatever solutions remain available? Bring your most honest and unfiltered verdict into comments right now, without softening a single word. Dodger Stadium demands warriors who can actually take the field when the battle begins, not glass weapons that shatter before the opening engagement. And do not move away from this channel for even a second. Because while we're engineering the repair of our own pitching arm in Los Angeles, a nuclear and genuinely unprecedented crisis detonated to the NFL's NFC North overnight. The Green Bay Packers general manager just slammed a radioactive ultimatum onto the negotiating table, threatening to implode his own locker room following a salary scandal erupting from the offensive line. The identity of the player who might hit the open market before the situation resolves today? I'm exposing every detail in the next video. Stay locked in.